Dave, when we were in San Francisco, you had mentioned that you were thinking about having a conversation with this team as you head into today, coming off of being swept by the Giants. Is that something that's still top of mind, or is that something you just you go with the flow and use whenever the time is right?
I think, I've had conversations with certain players as far as making sure we're on the same page as far as our goal, and that's to win a baseball game each night. And how we go about that shouldn't waver, and the goal shouldn't waver. So it's something that I just felt needed to be brought to light. And it's a good reminder for all of us at times during a long Major League season. So I feel like we're in a good spot.
Each series brings something new. In this one, you've got 6 MVPs that will be playing out there. When you when you hear that it's Los Angeles, the city of stars, what is your reaction to all of the talent between these two teams?
It's great. Sports fans in any sport love the best talent. And so when you're talking about a baseball game tonight, there's going to be no other baseball game that has more superstars, and which creates great moments and obviously great talent facing one another. So for us, we're spoiled in the sense that this kind of a freeway rivalry kind of lends itself to that. So I love watching Ohtani, I love watching Trout, Rendon, and I don't like playing against those guys, but we've got some good ball players too, so it's going to be fun for everyone.
Walker was talking about the procedure he went through yesterday. Was that kind of his decision, and how does that affect his time?
It was certainly his decision, with advice from Dr. Elatrosh, our staff, his representation. So all of us coming together and realizing that getting the bone spurs removed, taking the time, the allotted time needed, and hopefully giving ourselves an opportunity to get them back in September at some time seemed like the best course of action. So it's what's done is done, and I think as a ball player now it's like, let's go and get the rest and start the rehab process to get back to playing.
When you look at Shohei and a guy that pitches and has to prepare to pitch, and he's hitting late night the night before, how do you describe that as a baseball guy? What do you admire about that?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is awe or admiration. It's a player, an athlete that we've never seen. We've read about a guy named Babe Ruth, but in this kind of era of everything is out there, the pressure is as big as it's ever been. Player from Japan to kind of handle it with class, grace, understand the big picture and what he means to our game, and to perform. It's really remarkable. And the health component, all that stuff is stuff that we haven't seen. I don't know if we'll ever see again. So I'm a fan. I really don't take it for granted whenever I can see this man on a baseball field.
Is your meeting today any different at the start of a series because of this sense of urgency?
No. I think that's something that I rely on our players to understand the importance of every game. Not that we just got swept by a division rival, that we're playing a Major League Baseball team today. And there is a sense of urgency to win tonight. And whatever that means, whatever it takes, that's our goal. Win or lose, we're going to do the same thing tomorrow.
Trey was sort of talking about how, basically sort of echoing your point where, sometimes it doesn't feel like they've been playing downhill. I mean, how do you sort of ensure that they hear your message, hear that, and sort of emphasize that?
I just don't see the downside in collectively the only focus is to win the game. So that means something different for every person, myself included. And so when we can kind of keep that front of mind, I'll bet on the result. And so I think that when you're playing 162, including the postseason, our expectation, that mindset, there's no downside.
Is it something that guys just need a reminder at various points of the season?
Yeah, I think so. I played this game, and I was guilty many times at feeling sorry for myself, looking at my own statistics, and you sort of lose sight of the big picture, the main goal. And I think everyone's guilty of that at times. And I think it's my job to have the pulse of that and to remind people that let's stay the course and continue to focus on what's important.
How much more weight does Gonsolin have to carry now with the rotation injured like that?
Well, Bill, I just think that Tony, my encouragement is to keep doing what you've been doing. So what he's done has been exceptional. Most importantly, he's taken the baseball every 5 or 6 days, and he's gone out there and performed. So there's our players do a good job of reading the room. You lose your ace, so there's going to have to be some slack picked up as far as innings, and so Tony's a part of the mix. So my encouragement is he just goes out there and continues to do what he's done.
With Walker being like the caliber pitcher that he has been, is there an idea of like, even if he's not up to like 5 innings, 75, just bringing him back just to see what he has, if that is what winds up happening in September?
That's a ways down the road.
Yeah.
Whatever capacity, when and if we can have Walker Buehler back, we're better for it. So that'll be a conversation we'll be monitoring, when the time comes.
What was it about Sunday's game that you liked more when you said the compete was there?
I just thought, not taking away from their Saturday arms, I just thought that, Rodon's stuff was elite. The stuff was really good, and I just thought the intent was a lot different than it was on Saturday. So, again, not taking away from anything from Junis or their other guys. That's just what I saw.
When you talk about needing to have that sense of urgency, is it similar to kind of what you said coming into the year, where especially because of how last year played out and the kind of tougher path you guys had to go down, where that's the sort of thing that needs to be kind of emphasized throughout the course of the year when you're looking long?
Yeah, I think that there should always be a sense of urgency, and I'm not talking about playing with your hair on fire. That's not who we are. But playing to win a baseball game, that's urgent enough for me and for all of us. And so it's not guys trying to do any more, but just keeping the main goal in the forefront of our mind, and that's to win tonight. That's it.
Dave, how much margin for error is sort of like baked into Walker's recovery? Like is it a situation where you look at it as everything needs to go right in order for him to be a starter for us down the stretch?
I honestly, Alden, I don't know exactly, but I do think that there's some fudge or some, days of not feeling well to appreciate that, to bake that in, to still know that there's an opportunity to see him sometime this year. So, but I don't know if that's a week or 2 weeks. I don't know that answer.
It seems like it kind of gave him a sense of, I guess, calmness would be the right word, just saying that knowing that he has dealt with this and things similar in the past in high school as well as in college. Does it give you guys that same sense of just optimism that there is light at the end of this tunnel with him?
I think I do. I think that certainly Walker is very, from what he's heard, from what we've heard, that he's done it before. He has all the confidence in Dr. Elatrosh and the staff, and he's a very kind of level-headed guy, and if there's an opportunity for him to come back, he will. So it's going to be a tough process because no player wants to go through that, and you sort of feel kind of alienated, isolated. So we'll make sure he's included in things and relevant, but it's going to be a tough, lonely road for a while.
What does Tony need to be careful when he faces Ohtani, Trout, and today?
Not making mistakes in the middle of the plate and not getting behind. Any hitter, if a pitcher starts to get behind, that doesn't bode well for the pitcher. So just trying to make sure you get ahead. If you can get ahead, then you can sort of expand. But those are 3 elite offensive players, so it's going to be tough.
Are you sitting here today thinking, God, I wish they hadn't changed the DH rule for him?
Yes. Yeah, I am. I loved trying to keep him on the bench for one spot and then already having 4 or 5 at-bats. Yes, I am.
If you had DH rule, you might have gotten a better chance of landing him, though.
Yeah, that's fair. But today I sit here and say, man, it would be nice to have him on the bench.
To go back to the mindset thing one more time, just when we talked to Justin after the game the other day, he said he wasn't quite sure what it meant. Did you have to like clarify anything at all to guys?
I honestly, Jack, I don't know how the questions were posed to him, so I don't need to go back and clarify. The focus of winning a baseball game is pretty clear. So again, sometimes get lost in translation, so I don't need to rehash it with them. We have the same goals in mind.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.